Imagine this. You're at a funeral. Everyone is dressed in black. The air is heavy, and the only sound is the quiet sobbing of a family member. And then suddenly, ping, that unmistakable sound. A MetaTrader notification. Someone just couldn't resist. Right there in the middle of the eulogy. They're staring down at their phone, fingers twitching, whispering to themselves, "Come on." Just one more pip now. If you're shaking your head and thinking, "No way, nobody would actually do that," let me tell you, it happens. Because traders, especially Forex traders, are wired differently. We don't just see charts, we see opportunities everywhere. And sometimes that obsession shows up in the most inappropriate moments imaginable. And yes, I'm going to take you through the funniest, wildest, and most jaw-droppingly awkward stories of traders who just couldn't leave the markets alone, even when they really should have. But before we dive into the chaos, let me drop a little secret. If you've ever felt that itch to trade when you probably shouldn't, if you've ever opened a chart at 3 a.m. when normal people are asleep, or whispered about stop losses while someone's trying to talk about the weather, you're not alone. I've got a Discord where I share my market analysis, trading strategies, and yeah, sometimes even stories just like these. It's a place where we can laugh at ourselves while also sharpening our trading skills. The link's down below. Just don't join during a funeral, okay? Now back to the madness. The funeral story? That's not fiction. I once heard of a trader. Let's call him David. David had this weird obsession with never missing a trade. He said, "I don't go to sleep. I rotate around the markets like the sun." And one day, tragedy struck. His uncle passed away. He went to the funeral, sat down in the pews, and within 15 minutes, he was trading USD JPY on his phone. And here's the kicker. He was winning. Not small wins either. Big green candles lighting up his screen, while the priest was literally talking about ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Imagine trying to keep a straight face while your account just blew up in profit. You can't clap, you can't scream, you can't even smile without looking like a complete psychopath. So what did David do? He started fake crying, real tears of joy inside, but fake tears on the outside, just to blend in. His cousin leaned over and said, "It's okay. He's in a better place now." David sniffled and nodded, but deep inside he was thinking, "Yeah, my account is in a much better place now too." And that's just one story. In this video, I'm going to take you through 5 massive chapters, each more ridiculous than the last. From weddings ruined by stop-loss hunts, to birthday parties where the candles weren't the only thing getting blown out, all the way to those, let's just say, private moments, where trading absolutely should not have been happening. But here's the thing. These stories aren't just funny, they're lessons. Because if you've been in the markets long enough, you know discipline is everything. The market doesn't care if it's your wedding day, your grandma's funeral, or the moment your child is born. The candles will keep moving, spreads will keep widening, and someone, somewhere, will break all the rules just to squeeze in one more trade. So here's my challenge to you. As you listen to these stories, ask yourself, would I do that? Would I be that trader? And if you're honest with yourself, you might laugh. But you might also realize that maybe, just maybe, you've already done something just as bad. And if you haven't, don't worry. By the time this video is over, you'll either be disgusted enough to promise yourself never to trade in those situations, or you'll be tempted to try it just for the story. Either way, you're not going to stop listening, so buckle up. Chapter 1 starts with the funeral trader, but that's just the appetizer. Because trust me, the things you're about to hear will make you laugh, cringe, and maybe even feel a little better about your own trading mistakes. Let me take you deeper into David's story, and how that one funeral trade changed the way he looked at the markets forever. David's funeral trade became kind of a legend in his circle. He told everyone it was divine intervention, that his uncle's spirit was guiding him through the USD JPY breakout. People laughed, people rolled their eyes, but David, he believed it. And once you convince yourself the market is blessing you, you start to get bold. Too bold, which brings me to another story. Let's call this one the Wedding Day Massacre. There's this trader I knew. We'll name him Marco. Marco was obsessed with trading GBP pairs. He said it was like a toxic relationship he couldn't leave. Every time he promised himself he was done, the pound would make some dramatic move, and there he was again, sneaking back in like a cheating ex. Now Marco was about to get married. Big church wedding, friends and family, the whole deal. He swore to his fiancée, "Babe, no trading on the wedding day. You'll have my full attention." And for about, 10 minutes he kept that promise. The problem: the Bank of England had an interest rate announcement scheduled on his wedding day, and you know what that means. Volatility, chaos, pound pairs bouncing like a trampoline. So there he was, standing at the altar, holding his bride's hands, smiling for the crowd. And inside his jacket pocket, his phone buzzing like crazy, notifications going wild. He couldn't take it anymore. While the priest was reciting vows, Marco slipped the phone out just enough to peek at the chart. GBP USD was spiking hard. He thought, I'll just enter one quick position. Just one. She'll never know he tapped buy. He tapped confirm. And then it happened. A reversal. A brutal, soul-crushing reversal. So now imagine this scene. His bride is looking into his eyes, waiting for him to say, "I do." Instead, Marco is staring at his phone with the expression of a man who just saw his entire account go up in flames. His bride whispers, "What's wrong? Are you nervous?" And he mutters, "No. Stop loss. Stop loss." She thought he was trembling because of the wedding nerves. But no, he was sweating because the market had just hunted him like a deer in the woods. By the time they kissed, Marco had lost more than just his peace of mind. He lost 30% of his trading account. And the irony, his wedding photographer caught the exact moment his face collapsed into despair. You could literally see the candle wick of his trading career burning out right next to the wedding candles on the altar. And here's the thing. When he later told the story on a trading forum, half the comments roasted him. "Bro, priorities. Bro, get help. Bro, divorce incoming." But the other half? They admitted they'd done something just as bad. One guy said he missed his child's first steps because he was scalping EURUSD. Another confessed he ignored a proposal from his girlfriend because he was too busy adjusting a trailing stop, and I'm telling you this because it shows something important. The market has this twisted way of timing itself. It doesn't care if it's your wedding, your anniversary, or the one day you promise to unplug. The biggest moves always seem to happen when you're supposed to be living real life. And traders? We're terrible at resisting. That's why I share my analysis and setups in my Discord. I tell people, don't chase every candle. Don't let the market ruin your life moments. The irony is, sometimes the best trade you can make is not trading at all. But tell that to Marco, who now has a wedding album that doubles as a trading horror meme. And if you're laughing now, just wait until chapter 3. Because if you think a wedding trade is bad, you haven't heard about the birthday party disaster. The kind of scene where one blown account made 50 balloons look like the saddest celebration ever. Birthdays are supposed to be joyful. Cake, balloons, music, family. A day when you're the center of attention. But if you're a trader, sometimes the only thing you're focused on is the center of a candlestick. This story comes from a trader we'll call Sam. Sam had been grinding in the markets for months, dreaming of that one perfect trade that would flip his small account into something epic. And wouldn't you know it, the opportunity finally appeared. On the night of his daughter's 7th birthday, Sam told himself he wouldn't touch the charts that day. He promised his wife, his kid, even his dog, no trading, just cake and family. He meant it too. But the market doesn't care about your promises. The market is like that ex who always texts you at 2 a.m., just when you think you've moved on. So there they were. The lights dimmed, everyone singing happy birthday. His daughter was glowing, her face lit by candles. Sam clapped along, but inside, his heart was racing for a different reason. He had snuck his phone under the table and saw EURUSD breaking out of consolidation. It was the setup of his dreams, he thought. One quick position. Just one. I'll place it while they're singing. No one will notice, so he buys in. His finger swipes across the screen while his daughter leans in to blow out the candles. But here's the kicker. Right as she blows, the market blows too, straight against him. Hard reversal. Red candles screaming down like the fireworks he wasn't going to afford after this. Sam's face turned pale. He panicked, trying to hedge while everyone was clapping. His daughter looked up at him with the biggest smile, waiting for a hug. And there's Sam, frozen, because his account is evaporating faster than the candle smoke his wife noticed, of course. "What's wrong?" she whispered. And he said the words every trader has whispered at least once in their life. "Nothing. I just need to check something real quick." She leaned over and saw the screen. Charts, red numbers, the whole mess. And the look she gave him? Let's just say, Sam later admitted that losing 40% of his account was painful, but not nearly as painful as sleeping on the couch for the next 3 weeks. And here's where it gets funny. Later that night, his daughter asked, "Daddy, did you make a wish when I blew out my candles?" And Sam said, "Yes, sweetie." But in his mind, he was screaming, "I wished for a reversal. I wished for a bullish engulfing. I wished for the market to stop humiliating me on my kid's birthday." The irony is, if he had just waited, if he had literally eaten his slice of cake and chilled, the market turned back in his favor an hour later. The breakout was real. His entry was good. His timing, disastrous, and that right there is the curse of trading in the wrong moment. You're too distracted, too emotional, too out of sync with reality. The market punishes you, every single time. But here's what makes this story gold. Sam now uses that exact day as his trading mantra. He tells new traders in my Discord, "Don't be me. If you're in the middle of something important, stay out. The market isn't going anywhere. Candles will still be there tomorrow. Your kid's birthday? That's once a year, and honestly, I respect that. Because most traders never learn. They keep repeating the same mistakes. Bringing the charts into weddings, funerals, birthday parties. But Sam? He turned his humiliation into wisdom. He became the guy warning everyone else, even though he had to go through the pain first. Now, speaking of pain, Chapter 4 is where things get awkward. Very awkward. Because some traders don't even wait for birthdays or funerals to cross the line. Nope. They'll whip out their trading apps in the most private, personal moments imaginable. And once you hear this next story, you'll never look at trading the same way again. There are bad times to trade. And then there are times so wildly inappropriate, you almost can't believe a human being would try it. But traders, we're not normal humans. We're candle-chasing, pip-hunting, notification-addicted creatures who think a perfect entry is more important than oxygen. So let me tell you about a trader we'll call Alex. Alex was what you'd call a market junkie. He couldn't go 10 minutes without checking his phone. Bathroom? Charts. Subway? Charts. Mid-conversation? Half listening, half charts. You get the picture, but Alex took it one step further. One night he was on a date. Not just any date, a very, very promising one. Things were going well. They'd had dinner, shared laughs. The mood was perfect. They got back to her place. Music low, lights dim, one thing leading to another, and then it happened. Not the thing you think. The other thing. The ping. That cursed trading notification. His setup had triggered. EURJPY had broken resistance. This was the trade he'd been waiting on all week. Most people would ignore it. Most people would say, "Forget the charts. I've got something better going on right now." But Alex? No, Alex excused himself. "Give me 1 second," he said. She thought he was nervous. Maybe going to the bathroom. Nope. He pulled out his phone, sat on the edge of the bed, and placed a trade. Now here's where it gets worse. Not only did he place the trade, he couldn't stop staring at it. The candles were moving fast. His heart was racing. She walked back in, and there he was, lit up by the glow of candlesticks instead of candlelight. She looked at him, totally confused. "What are you doing?" she asked. And Alex, in the dumbest move of his life, replied, "Just 1 second. I'm about to enter." Yeah, wrong choice of words. Needless to say, the date ended. The trade? It lost. Double rejection. By the market, and by her. And here's the funny part. Alex told this story later in my Discord, like it was some kind of badge of honor. "I blew a trade and blew my date, same night. Legendary." Everyone roasted him. Memes were made. But here's the thing. Everyone also admitted they'd done something almost as bad, because the truth is, traders don't know when to stop. We bring the charts everywhere, family dinners, romantic nights, even funerals. And every time, the market teaches us the same lesson. Distraction kills. But Alex did teach us something valuable, even if by accident. If you can't even put your phone down in a moment like that, maybe you're not trading anymore. Maybe the market is trading you, and that's where we get to chapter 5. Because if funerals, weddings, birthdays, and private moments weren't enough, there are traders who go even further. Public humiliation, epic fails, live stream disasters, the kinds of inappropriate moments that don't just ruin your day, they go viral. And I'm going to tell you one of those stories next. If you thought funerals, weddings, birthdays, and private dates were bad enough, wait until you hear this one. Because nothing tops public humiliation. When you're a trader and you cross the line in public, it's not just you who suffers. Everyone around you becomes an unwilling witness to your obsession. There was this guy, we'll call him Leo. Leo wasn't just a trader. He was a show-off, the kind of guy who posted every tiny win on Instagram like he was Warren Buffett, but conveniently forgot to mention the blown accounts. You know the type. One day, Leo got invited to give a speech at his old university. Nothing fancy, just to talk about career success and financial independence. He thought, perfect, I'll inspire some kids, maybe recruit a few to my trading group, and show off how smart I am. So there he is, standing on stage in front of 200 students. The projector is on, the microphone is working, and everyone's waiting to hear some wise advice. He starts with the usual: follow your dreams, take risks, be disciplined. All that good stuff. But then, disaster strikes. He had left his MetaTrader app open on the projector laptop. Right in the middle of his slide about discipline, a notification pops up. Loud, clear. Margin call. The entire audience saw it. Big red letters flashing across the screen. His account had just been liquidated in real time, in front of 200 people. There was silence. You could hear the air conditioning hum. Then one student in the back whispered, L plus ratio. Another one yelled, he's broke. The whole room exploded into laughter. Leo panicked. He tried to close the window, fumbling with the keyboard, sweating bullets. But it was too late. Screenshots were taken. Clips went viral. His little motivational talk turned into the internet's newest meme. The trader who got margin called on stage, and the irony? That exact same day, he had bragged in a group chat about how safe his risk management was. He even said, I could teach a masterclass in discipline. Well, congratulations, Leo. You just taught a masterclass in public humiliation. The lesson? Simple. Don't bring your trading addiction into places it doesn't belong, because the market has a sick sense of humor. It will wait until you're at a funeral, at a wedding, blowing out birthday candles, on a date, or standing in front of a crowd. And that's when it will hit you hardest. But here's the thing I love about these stories. They're funny, they're ridiculous, but they're also real. Every trader I know has a version of this, a moment where they pushed too far, where the charts took priority over life, and the market punished them for it. That's why I keep saying, join my Discord. Not just for strategies, not just for analysis, but because trading is a journey, and it's way easier when you've got people around you who understand the obsession. We laugh at each other's failures, we share setups, and we remind each other that sometimes the best trade is to put the phone down. So whether you're laughing right now, shaking your head, or secretly sweating because you've done something just as bad, remember this: the market never stops. But life will pass you by if you don't pay attention. Don't be Leo, don't be Marco, don't be Sam, and for the love of all things green and red, please don't trade at a funeral, because if you do, well, I'll probably end up telling your story in the next video.